Time for some world sport from the BBC with me, Andy Barwell. Real Madrid and Manchester City have completed this season's semi-final lineup for European football's Champions League. While City fought back for a 2-1 win away at the German side Borussia Dortmund for a 4-2 aggregate victory in their quarter-final. The BBC's football correspondent John Murray reports.
And in the Champions League, it has been a case of try and try again. But finally, they have made it to the last four of the competition for the first time under Pep Guardiola and only the second time in all. And by the end, they were cruising, but there was an uncomfortable 40 minutes of the match when it was 1-0 to Dortmund after the outstanding Jude Bellingham shot the Germans in front and so at 17 became the youngest Englishman to score in the Champions League. But City stuck to their task. 10 minutes into the second half, Emre Can conceded a penalty for handball. Mahrez stepped up to score to put City back in control, and when Phil Foden rattled in a goal from 20 yards off the post that goalkeeper Hitz might well have kept out, the celebration with Guardiola and Foden at the heart of it told you that City were on the way to the semis.
Real Madrid reached the semi-finals with a 0-0 draw away at the English Premier League side Liverpool for a 3-1 overall success, and it was watched by the BBC's Conor McNamara.
So many chances, I suppose we're sick of saying it at this stage, but, chances that Mo Salah, Wijnaldum, Firmino, with their eyes closed last season, they would have scored them. And this time round, it was just over the crossbar, just wide. Liverpool ran out of steam a little bit at the end. Thiago and Jota came on. Neither of them were able to add anything different. It was a very impressive performance from Real Madrid. This is how you do it away from home in the Champions League. And it's not always pretty, but they were professional, they were disciplined. Remember, no Varane, no Ramos. Casemiro had a commanding game. He actually Casemiro took that Sergio Ramos pantomime villain role. I mean, if there had been a crowd at Anfield, his ears would be ringing from the boos and the cheers, because he clattered into James Milner in the first half to set an agenda. He got away with a yellow card on that occasion. But under pressure late in the game, he dropped in as a third centre half, and he was brilliant, Casemiro. And for Liverpool, look, it was always going to be a difficult assignment. But I think in these circumstances, on a night when the Real Madrid players came out a 2-goal lead, but if they were met by a thunderclap of noise from the cop and whatnot, would it have made it a little bit, would have unsettled them a bit. They were able to enjoy the silence, the echoes around Anfield, and they were never really in trouble. So look, it's in keeping with the rest of Liverpool's seasons. One or two little glimpses, but overall disappointing for Jurgen Klopp.
The Slavia Prague defender Andrej Kudela has been banned for 10 matches by UEFA after being found guilty of racist behaviour towards the Rangers midfielder Glenn Kamara. Kamara has also been banned for 3 matches after being found guilty of assaulting Kudela in the tunnel after a recent Europa League game. With more details, here's Roddy Forsyth.
Kamara has been vindicated in his claim that Kudela directed a racial slur at him during the Europa League tie with Slavia Prague at Ibrox, with the Czech centre-back being sanctioned with a swingeing 10-match ban, including appearances for his country. Rangers have also been hit, though, with Kamara banned for 3 games for assaulting Kudela after the game, and the striker, Kemar Roof, suspended for 4 games for a challenge on Ondrej Kolar, which left the goalkeeper with a fractured skull. The Ibrox club have also been fined €9,000 for failing to control their players during a tie, which saw Roof and Leon Balogun both sent off.
Well, Slavia Prague play Arsenal tomorrow in the Europa League. Mikel Arteta says he won't be making any plans for Arsenal not being in European competition next season, as their best route into qualifying looks to be by winning this Europa League tournament, as their English Premier League form has suffered recently. Well, Arteta is waiting on the fitness of his captain Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang ahead of Thursday's Europa League quarter-final second leg against Slavia Prague. It's evenly poised at 1 apiece. Goalkeeper Bernd Leno says the prospect of Arsenal not playing European football next season doesn't bear thinking about.
When you think about the future without Arsenal in an European competition, it doesn't feel right. And our job is to don't come true, because Arsenal belongs to Europe, and that's our target. That's our job.
Ole Gunnar Solskjaer believes that Manchester United's home form will start to improve after the club decided to change the banners around the stadium from red to black. Well, United have a far better away record in the Premier League this season. Well, they've won all 3 of their away Europa League ties, but have yet to win at home in that competition. As they prepare to take a 2-0 lead over the Spanish side Granada into Thursday's Europa League quarter-final second leg at Old Trafford, Solskjaer believes playing in front of empty red seats has really affected his players.
We've looked into this. There shouldn't be any reason, really. But some of the players I've mentioned that, that split-second decision that you have to make. Look over your shoulder if your teammate's there or not. And the red shirt is on the red background, just with the red seats. And so we've, of course, tried to change that.
Iran's Persepolis and the UAE's Sharjah were the only teams to record wins on a day that saw 4 matches end in draws as the Asian Champions League's West Zone competition kicked off at 4 venues. Well, last year's runners-up Persepolis edged out the UAE side Al Wada 1-0. Sharjah FC beat Iraq's Air Force Club also by a similar margin to set themselves up for a hectic group stage campaign over the next few weeks. The former Zimbabwe captain Heath Streak has been banned from all cricket for 8 years for corruption offences. The ICC found that Streak engaged with an Indian man known only as Mr X during his time coaching Zimbabwe and in the T20 leagues across Asia. Well, Streak passed on information on matches and contracts, details of players, including one national team captain. In return, he received 2 digital payments and a mobile telephone for his wife. The countdown to the rescheduled Tokyo Olympic Games is well and truly on. Today marks 100 days to go until the opening ceremony on July the 23rd. At an event in the Japanese capital, the governor of Tokyo, Yurika Koike, pledged that officials would do everything they could to deliver a memorable tournament. But in the midst of a global pandemic with rising infection levels, how big a challenge do the organisers face? Well, Kentaro Iwata is a professor of infectious diseases at Kobe University. He's described the decision to press on with the Games as being a bad idea, both scientifically and ethically.
I think it is a very stupid idea to hold Olympic Games this summer in Tokyo. That doesn't necessarily mean it is impossible. If you ignore all the surrounding risks to gathering people together at the same time in one city, in the middle of the pandemic, it is not a good idea, scientifically or ethically.
Sweden captain Caroline Seger was part of the 2016 women's football squad, which pulled off one of the biggest shocks of the whole Rio Olympic Games, knocking out the world champions, the United States, on penalties in the quarterfinals. Well, Sweden went on to win silver, and Seger says the build-up to this major tournament has been like no other.
Since it got postponed 1 year, it's been a very long build-up, but we've been training hard and playing games and doing our best to prepare for the Olympics, and obviously very excited to be able to go there this year. It's going to be different for sure for all the athletes, but we're looking forward to it.
Some tennis news now. The top seed Novak Djokovic made it through to the 3rd round of the ATP Monte Carlo Masters after beating the teenager Jannik Sinner in straight sets in his first action since winning the Australian Open Grand Slam event. Well, it was also a first match back for the 3rd seed Rafael Nadal, who also progressed through to the last 16 in Monte Carlo. He defeated Argentina's Federico Del Bonis, also in straight sets. And in rugby union, the Women's Six Nations organisers have confirmed to the BBC that the Irish government has given permission for France's team to enter the country under the elite sports status to play Saturday's pool match against Ireland at Donnybrook. And with that news, we end this edition of World Sport from the BBC.